Hey guys, and welcome back to the internet. So if you've been on YouTube in 2019, you've probably come across videos like this, or like this, or like this. So back in February, I was just going about my day in YouTube, and I noticed this recommended video from a channel called r/. I didn't really think much of it, but you know YouTube, when it wants you to watch something, it just keeps recommending it to you day after day. So I finally decided, alright, what the heck, let's watch it, let's see what this is all about. And the video itself was really nothing special, you know, just some guy telling stories from the internet. But what really caught my eye was his analytics. r/ was growing faster than any new channel I've ever seen before. He went from 2,000 subscribers to over 500,000 in less than a month. It even reached a point where people were accusing him of using a sub-bot because of how fast he was growing. So I looked around and I started to notice there were a lot of other channels just like his, other Reddit storytelling channels, who all started at exactly the same time, all doing the exact same thing, and all of them were just blowing up beyond reason. So for those of you who've tried to start a new YouTube channel, you'll realize that getting yourself off the ground is one of the most difficult parts. Because you're uploading videos, they're not getting recommended to anybody, you're lucky to get like 2 views or something, and it feels like it's just impossible to grow. But with these Reddit channels, it seemed like that wasn't even really happening. They were just blowing up right out of the gate. So of course these weren't the first Reddit channels on YouTube, so why did they start blowing up so much? Well, first of all, let's explain what makes a video go viral on YouTube in the current algorithm. So of course the best way for a video to go viral is for it to be in everybody's recommended feed. You know, showing up in the sidebar, showing up on people's homepage, you know, the more it's recommended to people, the more likely then it's gonna get clicked on. But there's basically 2 main factors that go into making a video turn out successful. Number 1 is click-through rate, or CTR, and number 2 is average view duration, or watch time. So the click-through rate of a video is how often it gets clicked on compared to how many times it gets recommended to people. So if a video gets recommended to 100 people and it gets clicked on 10 times, then that's a 10% click-through rate. And then you get into watch time metrics, which is the amount of time people spent actually watching the video, which is basically recorded in 2 ways. There's the average view duration, which is how much of the video people watched, you know, usually as a percentage-wise. And then there's actual time spent watching. So like, let's say you have a 10-minute video and the average view duration is 60%. That means that on average people would watch about 6 minutes of it before clicking away. So basically, the higher click-through rate you have, combined with the higher average view duration, will generally push your video out to more and more people. So the algorithm will see, like, okay, a lot of people clicked on this, and then they also watched the whole thing, so we'll recommend it to more people, because then maybe more people will like it. And this is also why you don't see as much clickbait garbage anymore, because it used to be that it was all just about the clicks, and people would click on things and then realize, wait, this is pointless, there's nothing to this video, so then they would click away. So now that the average view duration really comes into play, it really rewards content that actually is, you know, worth watching. So let's take a look at how these metrics really apply to these Reddit story channels so well. So these story videos usually have over-the-top titles, over-the-top thumbnails, you know, just completely shocking things that somebody in the story said. And you look at it and say, what, there's no way anyone's that stupid, or what, nobody actually says that, let's see what this is all about. And then once they've clicked on it, they're listening to a story, and now they don't want to click out of the video because, you know, they want to hear the rest of the story. So these videos are getting really high click-through rate because of their over-the-top titles and thumbnails, and then people are sticking around to watch them because, you know, I want to see what the story is all about. And then what pushes it even further is that this is like bingeable content. Meaning once people have watched one video, they're very likely to click on another one because they're, you know, they want to keep listening to more stories. So they're watching more and more videos from a certain channel, and whenever that happens, that gives a big boost to any channel that it happens to. So when somebody's binge watching these story videos, you know, it really causes them to grow. So let's get back to the question, why now? Why in 2019 are these videos suddenly blowing up? You know, there have been Reddit channels around on the platform for years. Why is it that they're trending so much right now? Well, there's been a lot of probable speculation, we'll call it, that there was a change in the YouTube algorithm sometime around February of 2019. It used to be that YouTube would pretty much only recommend you stuff that was related to the niche of what you were watching. So like, let's say you were just constantly watching Fortnite videos, it would just keep recommending you more Fortnite videos. But with the new change they added in February, they started to experiment recommending everything to everybody. I mean, the whole goal of YouTube is to keep people watching as long as possible. So they'll be like, hey, we know you really like this type of content, but why don't you check out some other stuff? Maybe you'll find something else you like. You know, try and keep you watching longer. That's why you've probably noticed you get recommended a lot of different type of videos, mostly in the last year or so. But with this new change, these story videos started to spread like wildfire. Because when you think about it, if everything's being recommended to everyone, not everything is really appealing to everybody. But some things can cast a wider net than others. Like if YouTube recommends you like a Minecraft video and you've never played Minecraft, you don't care about it at all, you're probably never going to click on that. Because that's more targeted to like a niche audience. Whereas these Reddit story channels, they're kind of just widely appealing to the masses. Like you don't have to be a fan of a certain niche to see a title like, "Give my child your wheelchair." Like you'll just see that and you'll think, whoa, what the heck is this all about? And it'll draw you right in. And as to why r/ grew so much bigger than all the other channels, my best guess is that he basically just won the YouTube lottery. I mean, I personally don't see anything special about his content over any of the other Reddit reading channels. He just happened to pick the exact right content at the exact right time, and he got really lucky with it. Now that's nothing against r/ or anything, I think he's doing a fine job. But I think only the experts at YouTube really know the full story behind the whole thing. So that explains why the genre has really taken off this year. But let's take a little bit of a deeper look behind the scenes. So back when I mentioned I saw a whole bunch of these channels all doing the same thing and all seeing amazing results, I got the idea, maybe I'll jump on the bandwagon and try it myself and see if it goes anywhere. So I was uploading for about a month with almost no results. You know, I was trying to be a little bit different than all the other channels, so I was looking for stories in other places. And nothing was really working out. Until like one day, I still remember the exact video and the exact day that it just sort of blew up. And all of a sudden I went from getting, you know, a couple hundred views a day to like 10,000 views a day. And from there it just kept going up and up and up. And I was doing pretty well for myself, at least for a while. Now there's a lot of things that I learned from making these types of videos. Number one, it is so easy to make this type of content. Like you literally open up Reddit for 15 minutes, find the top stories for that day, record yourself reading them, go through editing them, make some clickbait thumbnail, publish it, and then get way more views than you deserve. Now for most YouTubers, coming up with like good original new ideas that are also interesting enough to keep people watching, and doing that on a regular basis, is an extremely difficult task to keep up with. I mean, even since I've left the storytelling genre, I'm just like, man, I've got to come up with a new idea like every day. This is so much harder now. But with the story channels, it's free content that just keeps flowing right to you. And you get to make all these 20-minute videos with these over-the-top thumbnails and crazy titles that aren't even related to anything that you've done. So I also learned a few downsides of creating this type of content. First off, there is so much competition now. There are probably well over 100 channels all doing this exact same thing. And not only is everyone just like, you know, telling stories, but they're also pulling the stories from the same places. So you're basically just reading the exact same stories as every other channel. And you might think like, oh, as long as I get to those stories before anybody else and uploads faster than everybody else, then I'll be the one that reaps the rewards. But unfortunately, that's not usually the case. There have even been a handful of times where I've gone over to r/'s channel just to check out what he's doing. And I think, wait, I know this story. I read it in my video like 2 weeks ago. How is he so far behind? But considering everyone watching is just there to listen to stories, you don't get a lot of creative freedom or get to add your personality to it very much. Half the time I would like tell my own stories like in between the stories, and people would be like, hey, quit the chatter, just read the stories. If it's not from Reddit, I don't want to hear it. So I mean, it's pretty hard to really stand out from the rest, which kind of sucks when you're competing against 100 other channels and you're all basically forced to be exactly the same. And as for like who gets more subscribers, it almost seems random. I've seen channels that honestly do a much better job than mine, like their stuff is better quality than mine, and yet they have like 50 subscribers. Been doing it just as long as I have, didn't go anywhere. And then I see other channels that don't even do as well as mine, and yet they're like 10 times bigger than mine. So, yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a luck game. I would say I kind of landed right in the middle. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret about these channels. To be honest, the main purpose of most of these Reddit channels is just to make a quick buck. I mean, you would be amazed how much money some of these channels are making. I mean, I'm a relatively small channel compared to a lot of the others, and even I was making way more than I ever thought I could. But as far as cash grabs go, we haven't even gotten to the worst of it. Tell me if you can recognize what channel these clips came from.
r/ask Reddit. What's the biggest plot twist you've seen in real life? What's the most hurtful thing you've overheard about yourself by accident? Medical workers of Reddit. What were the most haunting last words you've heard from a patient? 911 operators of Reddit, what call will you simply never forget? When did your gut feeling of something's not right here save you? What secret did you find out about someone that permanently changed the way you looked at them?
Trick question. Every clip I just played came from a completely different channel. Yeah, the Ask Reddit channel scene is even stranger than the storytelling ones. Almost every one of these channels uses the exact same editing, the exact same thumbnails, the exact same obnoxious text-to-speech generator, and these channels are practically indistinguishable from each other. But yet some of these channels still manage to pull some absurd numbers. I mean, I don't know if there's like some kind of template or guide going around that tells you exactly how to make this exact type of channel, but it's almost disturbing just how similar they all are to each other. But yeah, next to compilation channels, these robotic Ask Reddit channels are pretty much the laziest cash grabs on YouTube. But I mean, like, as far as those channels are growing, it's pretty much the same deal as the storytelling genre. I mean, Ask Reddit is one of the largest subreddits on Reddit, so I mean, it only makes sense that people are drawn to the audiobook version. So back to the storytelling, why did I give it up? Well, I'll be transparent with you guys. When I first started the story videos, I kind of always knew that I'd be transitioning away from it at some point to do, like, commentary. I mostly just wanted to use the stories as a way to get my foot in the door on YouTube. I mean, which it worked, but I'm starting to realize that transitioning away from that is way harder than I would have expected. Funny enough, as I was putting this video together, I noticed another channel, Leeham, you've probably seen him before. Apparently he ditched the Reddit story train at almost exactly the same time I did to go do commentary as well. So what a coincidence. So on one hand, I do miss doing the storytelling videos. I mean, it was extremely easy to find the content. It was really easy to edit, really easy to make the videos, took no creativity whatsoever. I would just hop on my computer and then 3 hours later I had a finished video, and would get tons of views as a result. However, I started to notice that my viewership just started to slowly decline, and there was seemingly nothing I could even do about it. I've noticed a handful of other channels that have been going down slowly over time too, so it might just be that the trend is starting to die out. But yeah, the videos can really only be as good as the stories that were posted that day. So if there's nothing interesting enough to steal that day, it doesn't go very far. But yeah, I eventually just got really burnt out and bored of the stories. I mean, they were just so repetitive. I mean, you've heard one entitled parent story, you've heard them all. And I've quite literally heard them all. I honestly don't know how so many people can keep watching these and not get bored of them. But that leads me to the conclusion. What do you guys think of the storytelling genre? Do you still enjoy it? Are you sick of it by now? What are some of your favorite channels that did it over time? Do you think this is something that's going to last much longer? But that about does it for my first episode of a new series I'll call YouTube Analyzed. I think this is the direction I want to start taking the channel, where I take a look at some things that are really big on YouTube, break down why some things are popular, find things that are really weird, figure out how the site works in general, and what better place to start than my old stomping grounds. But I hope you enjoyed this new style. I'm not quite sure yet how frequently I'll be uploading videos like this, but I will see you guys in the next one.